Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to another video on the channel. Bit of a different video for you today. I know a lot of you are looking at different midfielders valued between 6.5 and 7.5 million, myself included, because I'm looking to move on from Martinelli this game week. So I thought it'd be interesting to discuss a few different options and put them into a bit of a tier list. Hopefully it'd help you out and maybe get my own thoughts in order as well. So if you are new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. Hopefully going to get to 100 subscribers before the end of the season. That would be brilliant. So thanks for all the support so far, and let's get into it. So we've got the tier list on the screen now, and there's four different categories we can put players into. Now, really, all the players we're going to discuss today are good options in their own right, but Fantasy League is about getting those extra points ahead of everyone else and squeezing as many points as you can out of your team each game week. So hopefully it'll help us decide which players are the best of the best options. And we're going to start with Jared Bowen as our first player. So he is currently valued at 7 million at time of recording, and he's only 6.7% owned. I think really he's low owned because nobody was too sure about how West Ham would do at the start of the season, or maybe they were sure and thought they wouldn't do that well. Turns out they've done pretty good to start with, and Jared Bowen himself has got 2 goals and 1 assist, and he has played in 90 minutes all 3 games, so he is as nailed on as they get. The main issue with Bowen is the mixed fixtures coming up. So whilst he plays teams like Luton and Sheffield United, and maybe even Everton in the next 6 or 7 game weeks, he does also play Man City, Liverpool, and Newcastle as well. Now, all of those teams are capable of conceding goals, and it might be the case that your squad is pretty good enough that you can rotate Bowen in and out so he can play against the likes of Luton and Sheffield United, and then maybe you bench him for the games against Man City and Liverpool. For me, he's going to go into the couldn't blame you part of the tier list because really I think he is a good option. And if you wanted to take a bit of a risk of a low owned midfielder, I think he is a great choice. Next up, we've got Raheem Sterling, slightly more expensive than Jared Bowen, but only just at 7.1 million. He is more highly owned though at 10.7%. Now, for me, you look at that and say, oh, he is quite highly owned, but really, I look at that and say, well, there's about 90% of people who don't have him, so he is a massive differential at the moment. And he did get 2 goals and 1 assist in his first 3 games so far. The downside is that they all came in the same game. So maybe if you're looking for more consistent returns, he might not be the one for you. Maybe he is the one who could have a bit of an explosive score against the weaker teams, which is very handy because he has some of them coming up. You know, you've got Forest, Bournemouth, and Burnley in the next 5 there. And I think this is the time, if you were going to take a risk on Sterling, you would get him in right now. Just like Jared Bowen, he's pretty much nailed on. He started all 3 and only missed 10 minutes out of the first 3 games total. For me, he's going to go in the be rude not to because I think, you know, just like Jared Bowen, he's nailed on, but he's just a little bit more, I don't know, guaranteed to get you points. I think because Chelsea should be a better team than West Ham. So I think if Chelsea do start clicking, they have a bigger upside than West Ham do. And I just think Sterling is just that little bit ahead of Jared Bowen overall. Next up, we've got Mitoma. Now, he is the cheapest one we've looked at so far at 6.6 million, but he is a massive 43.2% owned. Now, the downside of that is if he is very highly owned and you look at those fixtures coming up, they look pretty tricky overall. I think if you've got a player that's highly owned and they start not doing that well, a lot of people will transfer them out, especially at the start of the season as we are currently, where a lot of managers are engaged in fantasy league. They're a lot more active with the teams, and therefore, the more people that take him out, the more likely he is to drop in price. He is as nailed on as they get in terms of Brighton midfielders as well. We know they've got a lot of attacking options in the squad, but Mitoma seems to not only start but finish games as well. And he has got 1 goal and 2 assists and did get them over 2 game weeks as well, which does show a bit more consistency than perhaps the other 2 we've discussed so far. For me, he's going to go in not bad, but not for me. I just think those fixtures are too much to risk at the moment with the other options that we've got on the board. Our next player is Musa Diabi from Aston Villa, and like Mitoma, he is 6.6 million, but he's only 9.1% owned. For me, Aston Villa's fixtures look pretty good, especially once you get past that Liverpool game. He's got 2 goals and 1 assist and has been doing it a bit more consistently. The downside for me is that he's been subbed off in every game. He has typically got past the hour mark at least, but it does give him a shorter window in which to get his points. So that is kind of the balancing act you're going to be working out with this player, because whilst he looks to be pretty effective, he isn't playing as much as he could be. The flip side of that could be, well, you might argue that he got subbed off when Aston Villa were maybe losing by a lot, like they were against Newcastle, or winning by a lot. And in that case, we've not really seen as many games as we possibly could do. I think he's got good upside. Would like him to see a few more minutes on the pitch, but for me, he's going to go in. They'd be rude not to. I would put him above Jared Bowen. I think the fact that you do save a bit of money as well with him does work in his favour. So for me, him and Sterling are kind of like level in terms of their value for your fantasy league team at the moment. Our final player we're going to look at is James Maddison. Now, he is the most expensive player that we've got on this tier list, and he is reasonably well owned at 17.7%. But really, all players are going to be cheaper than Martinelli. So if you've got Martinelli in your team, none of these should be a problem for your price. He has had 1 goal and 2 assists so far this season, and done it quite consistently as well, returning in 2 of his games. And he did get 90 minutes twice. The only game he didn't get 90 minutes in was the most recent game against Bournemouth, when the game was already sealed. So I would say when the game is on the line, Maddison will be playing. I also think his fixtures look pretty good as well. You've got Arsenal and Liverpool in there, but I would say from an attacking point of view, you would still fancy Spurs to score against those teams. So I don't necessarily see it as a problem. And the rest of the fixtures look pretty good as well. You would be looking at Spurs to get a lot of attacking returns over the next few game weeks, which for me puts him as an absolute gem, top of the tier list. So this is what I'm thinking at the moment. Let me know your thoughts. I'm always interested to see what other people are thinking. Have I ranked these in the correct order? Would you swap any about? Is there someone that I've missed completely? And who would you get in if you were swapping Martinelli out of your team? If you are interested in more videos, our video on our Game Week 4 preview, as well as our latest wildcard video, should be popping up on the screen now. Like we said at the start, any support on the channel is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next one.